friends, this is Mr. Mullet Gaming, presenting a review show focused on the RPG video game genre. A divine angel who liberates, a soundtrack that slaps, and city building elements are what to expect when one plays the quintet masterpiece that is Soul Blazer. The first and the unofficially proclaimed Blazer or Quintet trilogy, Soul Blazer is one of the most unique RPGs that I've ever played. Shrouded in mystery and conspiracy, the game's developer, Quintet, went defunct in the early 2000s, with both co-founders disappearing without a trace shortly after. Whether or not this is true is unknown, but what I do know, I had a fantastic time playing this game. So let's free some souls and check it out. Developed by Quintet and published by Enix, Soul Blazer was first released in Japan on January 31st, 1992, and on November 27th, 1992 in North America. PAL regions wouldn't experience this game until 1994. Taking influence from their groundbreaking game, ActRaiser, players take on the role of a divine angel sent by a deity, called the Master, to destroy monsters and release captured souls. As these souls are released, the town in which they inhabited are subsequently restored. Sadly, Soul Blazer has not been re-released or remade, and physical copies of this game are expensive. If you don't have a physical copy, the next option is emulation, which is how I played Soul Blazer.
Mr. Mullet, wake up!
What?
Mr. Mullet, you must save the company!
What company?
Why, Quintet? It's been over 20 years since we disappeared! You haven't chosen to liberate us!
I'm just a lowly video game journalist. I lack any practical skills.
I will be your guide. You must free 6 villages. Afterwards, you will be granted access to the world of evil, where the final villain awaits. Go now. Time is of the essence.
The game is set within the Friel Empire, a kingdom ruled by King Magrid. Magrid learned of an inventor named Dr. Leo in his kingdom who could invent anything. Power-hungry and reckless, the king imprisoned Dr. Leo and forced him to create a machine that could be used to communicate with the evil spirit, Death Toll. Dr. Leo succeeds, and the king contacts Death Toll. Death Toll offers the king 1 gold piece for each soul from his kingdom. Magrid agrees and sacrifices his people for riches. As a result, the villages were destroyed. All living creatures became incarcerated souls in Death Toll's monster lairs, and the world became empty. The master of the world, God, saw the devastation and sent a divine champion to the kingdom in the form of a human warrior to defeat the monsters and liberate the inhabitants. Players traverse 6 unique areas, exploring dungeons and destroying monsters. As each horde of enemies are eliminated, towns, people, buildings, animals, and vegetation are liberated and reappear. Gameplay offers standard action RPG combat, and upgrades to your sword, armor, and magic are obtained as players progress. The top-down perspective is reminiscent to Link to the Past, and combat is quite satisfying. An element of accomplishment is fulfilled once rooms and areas are cleared. Experience points are obtained after defeating enemies, and typical to role-playing games, leveling up increases your health, strength, and defense. The game follows a linear path, and one gets into a routine. Fight monsters, liberate a town, talk to townspeople, learn more lore, fight an area boss, obtain a magic stone, move on to the next area, repeat. The combat, dungeon layout, music, and the game's city building concept are fantastic. Unlike other games, city or village building is the main focal point and the set objective of every area. Accomplished by destroying monster gates, progression and accomplishment are achieved with every enemy gate that is eliminated. Players will need to revisit the town as more buildings, people, and creatures are liberated. Here, more information is shared and key items are obtained, which assist in advancing the game. More linear than other RPGs that I've played, Soul Blazer does have a comfortable progression, which feels quite nice. There's no confusion where to go or what to do next, no mindlessly roaming around, and no frustration. This lowered the game's difficulty and cut down on game time. A win-win in my book. I'd be remiss if I did not talk about this game's fantastic soundtrack. Composed and arranged by Yukihide Tekawawa, the game's music slaps hard. In my opinion, for video game music, Soul Blazer is a hidden gem. I mean, just listen to this. The sprite design is decent, and the color palette isn't the best the system has to offer, but nothing that alters my overall opinion. The game's story isn't the best or the worst. It's basic, offering little in the way of character development. For enjoyability, I rate Soul Blazer at 90% and a 3 out of 10 for difficulty. It's not a hard game by any means and offers a comfortable playthrough. Finishing the game in about 14 hours, this is on the shorter side for an RPG. If you can, I highly recommend that you play this game. It is a fantastic time. Whether or not I'm suffering from a massive brain hemorrhage, or my journey to free the lost souls of the defunct game developer Quintet is well underway. However, much of this is still unclear. Soul Blazer is an amazing action RPG which needs to be remade, re-released, and available on modern console in some way.
Mr. Mullet, please, you are wasting time.
But how? What do I do? You must tell me, oh wise bonsai tree.
The tower must be the next stage of your quest.
The tower? Yes. I know what you mean. Keep grinding. Fresh milk.